You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people here. But you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. We found good in abundance because you have tuned in consciously and conscientiously to the Joy of Living with your humble host, Barry Shore, the ambassador of joy. Now, notice I didn't say the ambassador of joy. The ambassador of joy. And you tuned in for one reason and one reason only. Best reason in the whole world, because you care the most in the entire world about you. Y-O-U. And that's great, because when you become the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. You're going to be well rewarded today, because we're going to be diving in, discussing one of the most interesting items in the world with a fascinating fellow. And it's just going to rock your world. Your eyes are going to be open. You're going to say, wow, the future looks bright. Because sometimes for people that they think it doesn't. Well, you're going to discover that it does. Okay, and again, you tuned in because you're caring about yourself. And you're going to learn a lot because you know in this show we discuss the three fundamentals of life. And when you use these three fundamentals, the result is you're happier, healthier, and wealthier. Now, at this moment, you're joined by approximately 518,000 people around the world. By the time we bring on our amazing guest, wonderful John, there'll be over 520, maybe 525,000 people who have tuned in consciously and conscientiously. We ask you, share this with 5 people. You want to share with 50 or 100? That's great. Share this with 5 people so you can touch 2.5 million people around the world and keep spreading the word. And I am just so humbled and honored that you're always urging your family and friends to come and listen to the podcast. So we're over 525 on a regular basis. God willing, by the end of this calendar year of 22026, we'll be at 1 million people listening regularly and then sharing with 5 people. So you touch millions and millions of people. Because again, you're here to become healthier, happier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? So the 3 fundamentals of life are, number 1, life. Your life has purpose. When you lead a purpose-driven life, number 2 happens. Now, there's a good number 2. You go MAD. Now, MAD is a wonderful acronym that stands for make a difference. Lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world. And the 3rd fundamental is to uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Simple example, this show is carried over the internet. Ask anybody, what does www stand for? Invariably, they'll say it has to do with the internet. Now, factually speaking, they're correct. However, in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, www stands for what a wonderful world. And what is a word, right? W-H-A-T-A. And understand that the purpose of being worldwide and touching people all over the world is that you can make a difference. So let's talk about something really fascinating. I'll give you an example. Take this, the song, What a Wonderful World. Louis Armstrong sings it and it goes viral. It touches not just tens of millions or hundreds of millions, billions of people around the planet have heard this great song, What a Wonderful World. And whenever you hear the opening bars of What a Wonderful World, what do you do right away? You can't help but you smile. Now, smile is one of the most important words you can internalize, utilize, and leverage in your life, because smile stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Seeing miracles in life every day. Let me tell you a quick story. Now, those of you who have been with us a while, you know the story. Family and friends just visiting is good, important for you to know. It's about me. Imagine if you can. I'm standing up in the morning, completely healthy and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. And in the evening, I'm in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed. Not from an automobile accident, not a spinal injury. A rare disease took over my body and rendered me what's called quadriplegic. Nothing moved from my neck down. I can only communicate by blinking my eyes. 144 days in the hospital. was in a hospital bed in my own home for 2 years. I couldn't move. I was in a wheelchair for 4 years. I had braces on both my legs, my hips to my ankles. That was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So I'm a triped, not a biped. Can't walk up a stair by myself. Can't walk up a curb by myself. I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. I hope you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, all because of one word. One word. Smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. Now, I got to tell you, I am privileged to do in-person events every once in a while. I don't travel very much. Recently, I gave a webinar. We had 1,127 people in the audience. And I'm telling the story about Barry Shore and seeing miracles. And a lot of people raising their hands saying, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours. Have you seen any miracles? And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I can barely do that. Do you have water, drink, your food, tea, place to sleep, your family, your friends? Every single one of those is a miracle. What's the proof? Simple proof. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you're watching or you're listening, you didn't. If we have an obligation to live life to the full, to live exuberantly. Now, I'm going to tell you a quick story. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me the other day. She says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile S-M-I-E-L? I thought about it. Smile sounds the same. Why not? I asked her, how come? She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of an 8-year-old. What was she doing? She was creating the kind of world she wants to live in. Now, CREATE stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Boy, you're going to be doing some rethinking today when we talk about an energy source that is going to revolutionize the world and shape it for greater benefit for everybody. So again, I deal with people for more than half a century, giving coaching and such like that. And I can tell you, it's all about a shift in perspective, just a slight shift in perspective. Now, people come to me on paper that look great, and I start speaking to them, and it turns out they've dropped the F in shift, and the other stuff happens. You got to keep your F's in place. And when you do that, you can internalize, utilize, and leverage the 6 most important words you'll ever learn. And these are choice, not chance, to determine your destiny. How you choose to respond in any given situation will determine your path in life and your trajectory. Now, before we bring on wonderful John, I'm going to tell everybody, I warn you in advance, I use a lot of 4-letter words. I even use 4-letter FU word. And I do it for the shock value when it's fun. Now, of course, the 4-letter words that we use are love, life, hope, play, free, gift, swim. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. That's right, FU, capital N, capital N. Some people raise their hand and say, Barry Shore, fun's only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world. World of the positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant. After the show, point your finger at your friends and your family, twinkle in your eyes, smile on your face, remember the same friend, say, tell everybody, F you. Add right away, capital N, capital N. You got their attention. Say, what's that all about? Wait till I tell you what we learned today about thorium. So before we bring on Joe, I just want to urge everybody, use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day from now and the rest of your life. And the result is you'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Those 2 words. Thanks stands for to harmonize and nurture kindness. KIND is a great acronym that stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. No one that I can think of right now that I want to share with you that inspires noble deeds is more than John Kutsch. John, you got to unmute yourself and say hello. 526,917 people around the world.
That's great. Hello to everybody. I'm John Kutsch. Thanks for having me, Barry.
Well, it is an absolute delight and a pleasure and an honor. If I tell everybody what all the stuff that John has done and is doing, take the rest of the show. I'm going to give you 3 data points. He's the head of something called the Thorium Energy Alliance. T to the insiders. Number 2, he's a great guy. He's a good engineer, and he's devoted his life, as he says, one of his great books and such as The Hours Are Long, but the pay is low. And he embodies that. And the third thing is that he has and understands that what we're going to be discussing today is a hope for the future. It allows young people to have opportunity and great abundance. So with that as an introduction, John, let's just jump right in and talk about something that, again, I think it's like out of a comic book era, and it's just so aptly named, and it's so amazing what it does. It's called Thorium. We're going to make a song about it. I have to speak to Claude and make a song about thorium. So, John, without any further ado, let's just talk about this remarkable mineral. It is a mineral, correct?
It's an element.
An element. I like to be correct in what I say. What is the difference between a mineral and element?
I would say a mineral is composed of several elements. So like salt would be, sodium chloride or, so a mineral is composition of like more than one element.
Okay.
That's how I would. And an element is just a single
Mineral,
solitary little atom.
Composite, and the element is the unique item that may be in a mineral. So the element is called thorium. And I just did a quick search before we went on. I was speaking to you about where it was discovered, when, and why it's called what it is. So I just very, very quickly, it was discovered in 1828 by a Swedish chemist whose name we're going to try and pronounce. The first two are easy. Johns, like John Kutsch, but spelled differently. Jacob, and his last name is Berzelius. You can all and he was on a cruise in Norway, and he noticed something, a particular element. He named it after Thor, the Norse god of thunder, and it's just so interesting because it's such a great name anyway. And now you're telling us that it really does have great power, doesn't it, John? So
yeah,
what is it about thorium as a fuel? Let's begin with that.
Well, I'll begin tangentially a little bit to the side of that.
Okay.
This might get a touch technical, but I think your audience would appreciate it. And these days, you can look everything up,
right,
as you just did. So I think thorium, the reason it's such an interesting material, and why it interests you, Barry, and interests many people who think about these things in the world, is that thorium is probably unique among all elements. We only have about 90 naturally occurring elements in the world, and everything in the world in the universe is made up of those 90 pieces of materials. And maybe I won't split hairs, but there's apparently there's naturally occurring plutonium too. So really we'd have about 92 elements. But the point is there's vanishing, everything you've ever seen, everything you've ever done is composed of just that much material. So it's a pretty miraculous that everything gets done with pretty limited. You have more items than that in your kitchen, and you probably have trouble cooking dinner. Imagine we've cooked all of life and planets and stars with just 90 elements. Anywho, so the what makes thorium unique among all elements is that as a metal, it's got the properties of a rare earth metal. It's got the properties of a refractory metal, and it's got the properties of a platinum group metal. And it allows it to do unbelievable things. It makes the clearest glass in the world. It makes the most effective catalysts in the world. It can make other metals behave almost like superconductors. It makes the highest temperature ceramic that we've ever discovered. And it makes the most effective nuclear medicine. Actinium-225 is derived from thorium. And of course, like you said, the way most people come to this, the way I came to it, is it's the best, most available, safest, easy to use nuclear fuel. And so it's really an amazing substance.
Right. Let me put you on pause for a moment. So you are telling the world. First of all, by the way, when I asked John, what do? He says, I'm a design engineer.
Yep.
So I'm making a separation. It's as if God said on his resume, I'm a design engineer. That's what you said. God is using these 90 elements to say, here you are, humankind. Enjoy yourself. start discovering, start learning, go forth, be fruitful and multiply, as it were. And you've just told us in a matter of a few minutes some of the most remarkable pieces of data, information that will ever be exposed to human beings. I want to emphasize something because I tell people a lot. First of all, number one, don't write anything down. It's all going to be in the show notes. Just lean in and listen. It's too much fun. I mean, I'm doing that. I might make a note just to ask John something. Don't write anything down. Just listen to what he's telling us. That God, the brilliant design engineer, has given us these 90 elements, and one of them, discovered only, let's say, not even 200 years ago, and we're beginning to learn more and more about it all the time. So let's be blunt. You couldn't have discussed nuclear medicine in 1856 or 1900 or 1950 even, and the idea of thorium. So everything we're talking about is leading edge, not bleeding edge, leading edge, and it's happening more and more. That's safe to say? And I want to emphasize one thing. The information that John is sharing with us, our show is usually not about information. Information out there is readily available. It's the internet today. It's I/O. It's information overload. What you're getting here is granular. This is really important. It's granular and interesting. It's not about inspiration. Wow, this is so inspiring. I love it. Okay, 2 hours later, you forget about it. This is about the T word, not thorium, but transformation. This is about shift in your perspective. I never knew that. I want to learn more. This is transformative stuff that John is talking about. So with that as your platform or your diving board to go spring higher, John, tell us more about, let's just focus on one aspect of thorium. I'm going to lead you and ask you, where the heck do you get this stuff?
Well, that's a great question. And even I had a little mental block on that when I first was promoting thorium and talking about it and trying to revive research into it. One of my blind spots was exactly like, where do you get it? And it's fascinating. You get it from phosphate minerals almost exclusively. It's kind of like gold in that there's some naturally occurring gold. You hear of gold nuggets and stuff, but most gold is actually pretty bound up in other stuff, and you have to use methods to liberate it. So thorium is part of phosphate minerals, and I'm not a super religious guy by any means, but I do like to say when I'm speaking to folks that it is interesting that phosphate minerals like apatite, bacillite, xenotime, monazite's probably the most important one, but they all have an interesting aspect to them is that they got phosphate, which is what we need for fertilizer and food. They've got all sorts of critical materials like rare earths and cobalt in them, which we need to make things like computers and phones and the technology of the future. And they got thorium and uranium in them, which is the power of the future, right? And so I'm like, well, I don't know if if you can believe in the maker or whatever like that, but like somebody put those three big categories of material in one single rock. So isn't that's pretty inspiring that there's a rock, that has everything we need to live in the future.
Okay,
right?
let's got another minute before we go to a break. I'm visualizing what you just said. I'm visualizing as a big rock. I'll just call it round for the moment, that you hold either one or two hands. Let's say it weighs 10 pounds, 20 pounds. And in that rock, like you just said, there's almost everything that you need to function in the world and to benefit the world. And it was done by, the great, brilliant designer engineer, God, I want to say the name. Yeah. So, I mean, what you just described, that's transformational, John. That would enable me or urge me to say, I need to know more. And we're going to do more right after this brief break. Now, we have people that love the show, and we vet them. We wouldn't have them on when think worthy of your time and attention. Don't go away. There's more John. There's more thorium on the other side of this brief break. Be right back.
Hey, quick pause. If something you just heard made you stop and think, don't let that moment pass. Because that shift, that awareness, is the doorway to real joy. Barry Shore has put together a free ebook with simple, powerful strategies to help you live in joy every day. Go to barryshore.com and download your free copy now, because one small shift can change everything.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. You're good-looking. Joe was looking for and finding the good. We found good in abundance. His name is John Kutsch, and he's the head of TEA, Thorium Energy Alliance. It's just so fun. F you, John. Did you like that? What was the last time somebody said F you and you laughed? And we're talking about thorium. And I asked him the basic question, where do you get this stuff? And he starts laughing and he starts waxing eloquent about how the Lord or whoever put everything in one place because it's part of many other pieces, elements that we need to function, to live, to grow food, to have our cell phones. So let's break it down and get a little granular. So where do we find the stuff? Okay, you say it's part of the phosphates. Does that mean
So the nice thing is, Barry, you almost get all of our monazite and other phosphate minerals, almost all come from the production of other metals. So you never, you almost never would think of having a rare earth mine or a thorium mine. If you're digging up iron to make iron and steel, if you're digging up titanium to make titanium, you're getting this stuff as a byproduct, right? And the only country right now, sadly, that's really taking advantage of it, hate to get into politics a little bit, it's China.
Yes, China.
And so we need to bring this stuff back. We used to be the world leaders in making rare earths and making electronics, and we need to be able to do that for ourselves. The world would just be a safer, better place. And it's not like we don't have these materials. Rare earth is an old-timey term. It's like saying your meat is rare. It's not what you think. It doesn't mean it's not available. It's just an old terminology. It's hugely available. We've got vast amounts of rare earths. We've got huge amounts of thorium. We just choose to throw them away today. And what we could do is, for instance, iron mines in Missouri and Minnesota could set aside this secondary material, this rare earth bearing material, and just real quickly you basically you grind it up, you digest it. The materials are different weights, right? So heaviest to lightest, the thorium drops out, then the rare earths drop out, and then you get all the rest of the stuff, the calcium and silica and things like that. And the rare earths, obviously a lot of people understand that without those, no computers, no electric cars. But the thorium, this is actually why I've been saying for 20 years, if all you did was process this material to get rare earths and cobalt to make magnets and computers and stuff, that'd be great. If we're too stupid to use the thorium, let's at least set it aside for a future generation, because we could run the entire United States for 10,000 years on the thorium we've already dug out of the ground and is sitting on
wait a minute, John. Wait a minute. We just made big statement. And if it wasn't for the fact that you're head of the Thorium Energy Alliance and you are a brilliant engineer and you do know what you're talking about, well, nobody would believe the statement you just said. So I want to have you say it again, but I want to put it a little bit in perspective for something. So in the world of mining, I know just enough to be very dangerous. I have some friends who own gold mines. When I talk about gold mine, these are vast areas where gold had been mined. Previously, they bought up what we call the unused parts of the mine.
Yeah, the tails.
So the tails. So when the price of gold gets sufficiently high, and it is right now, but it has been over the past year or so, you go in and what you do is you take the tailings, the tail end, the stuff that you throw away, and it's just laying there. Literally, it's laying there. They took the tailings and they went through the processes. Obviously, you're not talking about people picking stuff, machinery inside. And thank God they're making a lot of money because they're going through the stuff that was the refuse, the stuff that was thrown away, the tailings. And you're telling me, I'm listening, that we have enough thorium laying about, as it were, and those are your words, to power the United States of America for the next, not 10 years, not 100, not even 1,000. You said 10,000 years. Is that an exaggeration, John?
Absolutely not. You know, that's I tell people that, and sometimes they have your response, and I do a little. I'm not a great, you know, it's funny, I'm an engineer, but I'm not awesome at math, and so I'll do some basic math and just say, hey, look. And when people see it, it really, you know, they're really like, you know, at first they're incredulous, but then when they think about it, they're like, man, that is, because you got to remember that thorium and uranium have 6 million times the energy density as coal. And
Well,
so,
okay, now let's, again, this show is about not information, it's about transformation. We want to transform your mindset to understand how big
well,
the world is and how much power and goodness there is. So coal is used to heat homes, to move things, to bring power. And John,
well,
you
I
just said,
like to explain, Barry, that coal tends to have a little bit of thorium and uranium in it, but thorium and uranium are so energy dense that it would be worth your time to dig up coal, take the thorium and uranium out of it, and put the coal back, because you get more energy from the thorium and the uranium in coal than the coal itself.
okay, so
Isn't
that
that amazing?
yeah, so let's, again, this is all about the T word, transformation. So let's ask the obvious question, John. You are articulate. You know what you're speaking about. We live in America. We have somewhat, some thinking people in the country. We are the most, let's be blunt, the most powerful country that's ever existed in the history of humanity. And we're on a better path than the country called China, which is trying to eat our lunch and would be willing to do it and put us not in second place, but in 10th place if they could. So
Yeah.
why is it, John, that with what you're giving statements to, that you're not having people calling you, coming to you, working with you, especially in this particular administration, and saying, okay, let's get on top of this so it can be called the Trumpian Energy Alliance?
Well, I'm not. I think I'll stick with thorium, but but
I mean,
we know Chris Wright, the new Secretary of Energy, is a
yes,
good supporter.
good man.
Honay, the new head of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, is supportive. And like you come out of the woodwork. You know, there's people coming out of the woodwork that understand this and understand the vast, huge opportunity. And you know, this isn't just for the United States, Barry. It's for the whole world, because thorium is non-proliferating, right? You- no ready way to turn thorium into a weapon, right? And so we can provide the world with power, and when energy is vastly abundant and available, energy is life, right? So energy is our way of, you know, growing more on less land, creating water from salt water, creating, you know, materials and supplies. If we have a world of 8.5 or even 10 billion people, we better start getting really good at using what was given to us more efficiently and better. And to leave something like thorium on the table or in the ground and not use it to provide vast amounts of abundant energy to then that's how wars start, because people are jealous of other people's water and oil and, you know, land. And if we can use land better, if we can use, we always need oil, right? Because we need plastics, we need lubricants, we need medicines that come from oil. So we're never going to stop using oil. We're never going to stop needing water. Last I checked, I like to drink water. So what we need to do is not put our heads in the sand, but we need to start making more of stuff. And then when we make more of stuff, people make better decisions, and they aren't making decisions out of fear. And, you know, we always say one of my favorite companies is Copenhagen Atomics, and they're developing a thorium reactor, and they give out T-shirts that say "Energy is life," you know, and nothing's truer, you know, like we have the best life in the United States because we're very, very high on the pyramid of uh, using materials wisely and using energy per person in the population. And when you wonder, like, why is Haiti poor? Haiti's poor because they don't have energy. right? There's all sorts of political reasons, but when it comes down to the bottom of the pyramid, poor countries are poor because they're energy poor. And so if we can get rid of energy poverty, you get rid of all poverty.
Okay, John, let's pause for a moment because you've given
Sure.
us so much transformative processes to become aware of. I want to open up a couple of pieces here. One is that on our podcast, which is worldwide, we have listeners from all over the world, some places that people consider very remote, like the Congo, Baluchistan, Nepal, throughout India, Latin America, even the United States, even Chicago. We talk about everybody wants to live in America. And I tell them, you don't have to live here physically. What you want is you want an American mindset. The American mindset is what John is talking about, which is the proliferation of productive energy. Energy is life. I want to focus on two things that you mentioned. One is the beginning of the show we talked about, and then go right deeper into something else. And this is the genius of thorium and what you're discussing here about releasing energy that cannot be made for weapons, therefore will not be made for weapons, will only be for productive use. And this is what gives younger people right now who seem to be struggling with a mental process that says constriction. We want to think expansion of opportunity, abundance, benefits for all. That's what you're discussing, right? I want to talk
Absolutely.
about what you mentioned about water, because I dedicate a lot of my time, energy, and money to making sure that people have potable water. Because there are almost 2 billion people on the planet that don't have access to drinking water like we do. They
Yep.
don't. Now, and by the way, it's fixable. It's not as if it's an unsolvable problem. It's not as if, we can't do anything about us the way the world works. On the contrary, what you're discussing with us today, I want you to focus with us and excuse the pun, going to drill down and talk about the ability to release salt water, to release water, potable water from salt water using energy. And therefore, let's talk about thorium. How will that help?
Interestingly enough, we work with HERO systems, which are called high efficiency reverse osmosis. And so they actually, as a happy note, they're taking less material and less energy to run all the time. So that's a good thing. But they energy, and if you want to make billions of liters of potable water, you're going to need an energy source, and preferably an energy source that is hugely abundant, can be used for lots of different things. Plus, my preferred use of thorium would be in a high temperature reactor like a molten salt reactor. And so you got thermal energy. You don't just have electricity. When you're making heat, use heat. And so you can do water distillation processes and other processes. So that's the thing that makes it affordable for countries that normally can't think about affording to provide their population with clean water. Abilene Christian University, their thorium reactor project down there. Natura is the name of the company building the reactor. That is one of their prime motivators, Barry, is to provide clean water. And people don't understand that today a lot of fracking and oil production requires a lot of water and makes us what's called produced water. And so Natura has been very highly motivated to help Texas, pretty dry state, utilize their water better. So that'll be a great. And here's a weird little benefit. When you desalinate water, you get this salt slurry. But guess what's in there? There's a lot of raw materials in there. And MIT did a study and said, we don't just put this super thick salt brine back in the water. We can process it. We can take out a lot of the stuff we need for society, and we can then dilute it back to its normal level and put it back in the water. And we're not hurting the fish. We're not hurting, the animals in there. There's also a company called Supercritical Materials that is looking to process seawater also. And guess what's in seawater? Well, billions of kilograms of uranium are dissolved in seawater. Most people don't understand that. And so supercritical has the ability is developing the ability to economically, I mean, it's not just a parlor trick. We've been taking uranium out of seawater since the 50s just to do it. But it's, it's hugely expensive back then. Now we're driving the cost down to the point where we can extract uranium from seawater. And here's a weird thing: uranium is a constant state. So as you extract uranium from seawater, uranium coming off the land replaces it. So it's like inexhaustible. It's effectively renewable energy.
It's like the system for rain. It keeps growing.
It's really, that was one of the most surprising things for me to learn about it, when the chemist explained to me that uranium just gets up to a certain point in seawater, and when you take it out, it rebalances itself. And it's really a beautiful life cycle of the material.
Again, we're talking about, I'm saying it, the great designer, God, the creator. Because when you start learning about and studying what John is discussing with us, your eyes open, your mind expands, your heart expands. And again, we're talking about the O word, opportunity, abundance. It's American mindset. However, it's not just America. What you're discussing here, you're talking about Texas. Okay. Talk about Saudi Arabia. Talk about Pakistan. Talk about India. One of the leaders in desalination is a tiny country with just a few million people that has cracked the code in a lot of this stuff. That's called Israel. And Israel really devotes itself to what you're talking about, John, to be able to find uses for things that other people either discard or don't understand. And they put their energies. And one of the things that we're talking about is energy equals life equals peace. You can now have countries that have 10, 20, 30, 50, 100, 200 million people in them now begin to be focused on how do we find the benefits in things rather than creating wars.
That's absolutely right. I mean, if you have a lot of very hungry, thirsty people, they're not going to be happy, right? and so, you're in California, aren't you, Barry?
I lived there for 45 years. We live now, by the way, in Henderson, Nevada. Now, Nevada is a fascinating state. I told you about my friends that own the gold mine. Silver mines, the same thing. And I bet you there's a lot of thorium. And we need water. Look, water is the big issue between Nevada and California.
Yeah.
And we need water.
Yeah, so a little last thing on this topic that I always like: for Californians, 20% of your power comes from one nuclear power plant, Diablo Canyon. And for people who live by Diablo Canyon, when they built that, it was meant to be 6 nuclear reactors and not just 2. So they way overbuilt their water desalination plant. And so now the people in those counties around there, get free desalinated water from that plant. So let me tell you, if they ever try and shut Diablo Canyon, there's going to be some really sad people in California, not just because you lost 20% of your carbon-free clean energy, but because a bunch of counties around Diablo Canyon lost all their water. And so we need to get real and put on our big boy pants and deploy solutions that give people opportunities and abundance. That is, those are the best words to describe a future of optimism and a future of prosperity. That's the one mindset that I think people can say Americans have. We're optimists and we're problem solvers, and we believe that we can fix things. That if there's one great attitude that Americans have, it's that we have the freedom to make things better. And I hope that continues forever. And we can solve these problems. These problems are solvable.
These problems are solvable. That is the essence of America. It's the American mindset. And it doesn't matter where you live in the world. When you begin to have this mindset, Now you're joining the American way, which is to create abundance and opportunity for everybody. All we're asking is join hands. Am I right, John? Join hands.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go to a brief break. Be right back with more John, more thorium, more abundance, more opportunity right for this brief break. Don't go away.
Hey, quick pause. If something you just heard made you stop and think, don't let that moment pass. Because that shift, that awareness, is the doorway to real joy. Barry Shore has put together a free ebook with simple, powerful strategies to help you live in joy every day. Go to barryshore.com and download your free copy now, because one small shift can change everything.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. Our cup runneth over with good. His name is John Kutsch, and he's the head of TEA, Thorium Energy Alliance. And we're talking about one of the most amazing elements in the world. The good Lord gave it to us. It's only 90, 92, doesn't matter the number, 90. We can do everything. And we're talking about energy, water, cleanliness, clean energy. Energy is life. In the few minutes we have, John, together now, let's talk about this, the revolution. And I want to discuss, or have you discuss, nuclear medicine. I mean, first of all,
Sure.
let's be medicine, everybody likes. Nuclear, people get nervous. However, when you put them together, it's one of the greatest benefits that has ever existed for humanity.
Absolutely. Let me tell you about actinium-225. The prostate cancer is one of the biggest scourges for men. Prostate cancer is breast cancer for men. That's what my doctor told me, when he said, hey, you got to get PSA tests and all that. And then what the PSA test is, it's a bit of a miracle in that it's an antigen that can, glom onto cancer cells. So now with actinium-225, you can't just identify whether you have cancer or not. What you can do is take that same antigen and plug an actinium alpha emitter particle derived from thorium onto the back of that antigen. And when that antigen hunts down, like a little wolf, hunts down the cancer cell, it attaches to the cell. The alpha emitter irradiates a little tiny, cloud of energy, I guess is a simple way to think about it. And it doesn't hurt any of the cells around it. It just kills the cancer cells. So it's miraculous and elegant how it works. And it's becoming hugely important, and it's saving people in very late stages of cancer. It's if you look up actinium-225 and prostate cancer, you'll see some famous MRI scans of people whose bodies are riddled with cancer, and then after some treatment, they're clear. I mean, it almost seems like somebody like doctored the photographs, but this is the most important new nuclear medicine there is, and that's generally how a lot of nuclear medicines work. You use an alpha emitter or a beta emitter, which you can look those up. They're just different energy spectrums, and generally, I always worry that some nitpicker is going to be like, that's not exactly right, but close
don't
enough.
Worry about those people.
People will figure it out if they're interested. But the point is, we are getting very, very good at pinpointing things that cause disease and taking just them out. So the idea of getting these broad cancer treatments where people are sick and losing their hair and throwing up, that's not always necessary anymore when we have these super targeted therapies. And so that's a reason to be optimistic, and to say, we're coming. Cancer is such a varied thing. There's no like a cure for cancer, but we're finding effectively cures and therapies for many of the worst cancers. And so that should give everybody a shot of sunshine to think that it's not a death warrant anymore to get this diagnosis, that if you take care of it, you can resolve it and move on.
So let's unpack a few things here, because you're right. This is people are leaning in, opening up and say, wait a minute, is this happening in 50 years? It's happening now.
Yep.
It's so wonderful and beautiful. So one of the great acronyms that we use for the word joy stands for Journey of You. So John, you've given us this Journey of You. It's really exciting with cancer. I created an acronym for your name. May I share it with you?
Sure. Go ahead.
JOHN, because it's coming out of what we're discussing. You ready? Joy opens hope naturally.
Well, there you go. I'll take that.
Right. Well,
I thought you were going to try and make an acronym out of Kutsch. I'm like, good luck with that.
Well, I could do it. Kindness unleashes transformative success, creating happiness.
Oh, there you go. There, you're getting good at that, Barry.
Thank you. They don't call me the king of acronyms for nothing. So
Very good.
You've touched upon something that, let's be blunt, touches people regularly. People with cancer, right away they think of these things they have to ingest, and like you said, the ability to even consider that there are antigens that can combat it, eradicate it, and again, where everything is derived from this amazing element, almost miraculous element called thorium, which is aptly named, right? One of the strong gods.
God of thunder.
But it all comes from the one God. See, the beauty of what we're discussing today is the great designer offering to humanity the opportunity to have limitless energy, readily available, part and parcel of things like you said, coming together with phosphates, which we need to be able to grow crops.
Yep.
And the vision that you've brought to us here today is so wonderful. And I think at this particular moment in American history that we actually have heads of departments that are oriented to listening to you. Is that correct?
Yeah. It makes us very optimistic that Thorium Energy Alliance wants to be the supplier to the world of we used to get our thorium from China and Russia, and that's sort of off the table right now. But we need it. And so Thorium Energy Alliance wants to be the initial provider of thorium materials like thorium nitrate and thorium oxide and thorium metals for medical applications. And so I think that after a couple of years of trying here that I think we'll have these issues resolved. And we have Chairman Wright and Chairman Honay that both understand the importance of doing this. And like I said earlier, if we did nothing other than just store the thorium in buckets for future smarter generations, we'd liberate all this other material we need, these rare earths, the cobalt, so it's like we need to do this. We're at the point where we don't have a choice.
So when you're at a tipping point,
the
ability to tip is very important.
Yeah, it's nicer when you get to choose it, but when you're being forced to, it's like, well, I'll take it any way I can get it, because this is too important to just let go another day. And so I've been lucky that a client of mine turned me on to this thorium material back about 20 years ago. And it's been a very, very interesting journey, and you got to start somewhere. I started from zero like anybody else does, and I built up a great knowledge base and a whole series of world-class experts. And if any of your listeners and viewers want to learn more, there's Thorium Energy Alliance has a pretty good basically a Wikipedia of thorium on there. And if there's anything that we're super open, our emails are on there. You can call us. And we're happy to talk about all the stuff, optics, ceramics, catalysts.
All of the show notes. And
that's great. And so we're, I want to make, I'm not the king of thorium. I want other people to execute on this. I love it when people come to me and say, hey, I have an idea for using it. and we'll do anything we can. We're here to create opportunity. You know, we're trying to take this light out from under a bushel and show it to the world. You know, and
The OA word, the OA, opportunity and abundance. So, John,
and prosperity. You know, we don't have to have this defeatist.
Abundance is prosperity, and by the way, equals life.
Equals life, absolutely.
No wars. But people fight over scarcity, not abundance.
Yep, and you know, a prosperity mindset is a lot healthier for you, and it's better for the world. And you know, my whole thing, I'm an environmentalist, and I'd say if we can get all the power out of a tiny nuclear power plant that a huge field of solar cells and windmills, like, why would we do windmills and solar cells when this teeny tiny facility can produce hundreds of times more energy? So it's like, what's a better use of land? What will save the birds and the little animals and the plants, and we don't have to cut down trees and spray weed killer everywhere? You know, it's that sort of mature thinking. When you think like, what's the most energy dense thing we can do, that's what we should be doing. Not so
and this is part of the process. So, John, I'm loath to say the words I'm about to say. We're coming to a close on our time together today. I have 3 quick questions for you.
Sure.
You ready?
Yep.
Number 1, will you come back again?
Yeah, I'd love to. This is a second time. We might as well make it a triumvirate.
A trifecta, baby.
A trifecta, yeah.
Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, John, you have only 80 seconds to answer this. You've touched on it a little bit, but I'd like to hear from you succinctly, clearly, compelling. 80 seconds. What is your most fervent desire?
My fervent desire would be to see the large scale deployment of thorium fueled high temperature reactors running safely around the world to benefit humanity. And I would like the large scale acceptance of thorium as a critical material for things like superconducting transmission cables, catalysts, ceramics, optics. All that would be made better and more available to all of humanity. And that's my hope, is that humanity sees what a gift this material is.
As we say in the real world, amen. And number 3, may I give you a hug in front of 529,011 people around the world?
Give it a shot, man.
Okay, let me tell you what HUG stands for. Heartfelt, unlimited giving. 1, 2, 3.
Oh man, I feel it. I feel it through the screen.
Remember, you're listening to and watching The Joy of Living, the helpful host Barry Shore, the ambassador of joy, amazing John Kutsch, the head of the Thorium Energy Alliance. And this show is only for one reason. It's not about John, great guy that he is, Barry, fabulous fellow. It's about you. YOU, you becoming the best you possible, because you're the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. You are thorium, baby. And remember, you're here because we discussed the 3 fundamentals of life. Your life has purpose. Lead a purpose-driven life. You go mad. You make a difference in the world. Unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. You'll be happier, healthier, wealthier. Smile, seeing miracles in life every day. We talk about miracles today. Or as my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in. Causing rethinking. Listen to what you learned today. Causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Utilize, internalize, and leverage the 6 most important words you'll ever learn. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you choose to respond to any given situation will turn your path in life and your trajectory. Use 4-letter words, the kind we use to live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Love, life, hope, play, free, give, swim, and tell the world to F you. Remember to add right away, capital N, twinkling eye, smile on your face. People say, what you talking about? Where'd you get that? Let me tell you about power and life. You got their attention, you can talk to them. And so we're going to leave you with 2 things. Number 1, use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day, consciously and conscientiously. Say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And a blessing from John and Barry. Go forth, Live exuberantly. Spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. John, don't go away.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.